Hi there. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up an EE Smart Hub Plus using the EE mobile app. I'll be covering how you can add your hub to the app, the features supported in the app for the hub, and some issues I had with using the app, and why you might be better off using the Smart Hub Manager interface instead. As always, if you like the video, please tap the like button and consider subscribing. Now, before I start, I just want to let you know that I recorded the screen on my iPhone for this video, and the red circle you will see is a mouse cursor. I used a mouse so that you can see where I would normally tap. With that out of the way, let's get started. The first thing you'll need to do is to download the EE app from your phone's App Store. It is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. As I'm on an iPhone, I downloaded it from the Apple App Store. To find it, do a search in the store and type EE. Download it and then open the app and follow the on-screen prompts to sign into your account. Now I'll move on to getting the hub added to the app. Okay, I have the app set up. I found that it's easier to view in dark mode, so you may want to set your phone to that, but that's up to you. Before you start, make sure you have the security card from the back of the hub. You'll need this to scan the QR code during the setup. In the app, tap on Manage in the tab bar at the bottom. To add the hub, you can either tap on Set up Wi-Fi controls on this screen or tap on Broadband and then tap on the same button in there. Both do the exact same thing. Scroll down and tap Yes, I'm at home. Follow the 4 steps as shown, tapping Next Step when you're done. Once those steps are done, tap on Scan Hub QR code and then tap on Continue to allow the camera access. Then tap on Allow and then tap on the slider next to Camera to enable it. Go back to the app and tap Continue. Point your phone's camera at the QR code and wait for the hub to be paired. Tap Allow when you are asked to find devices on local networks. When you get the Pairing Complete screen, tap Next. Restoring hub settings is optional, so you can tap on Do this later if you don't want to. Finally, tap on Go to Broadband to finish the pairing. You may see a Provide Feedback pop-up appear. Just tap No Thanks or Maybe Later. That will then take you to the main screen for the hub settings. The first thing I'll demonstrate is the speed test. Just tap the speed test and the app will then test the speed of your connection. I'll fast forward through this bit as it can take a while. There is a progress bar on the outside. When it's finished, you'll get your results along with what it could do. I don't know who decided on these capabilities, but who the hell has 100 smart doorbells on their house? Anyway, I'll close that and go back to the main page for the hub. Next up, I'll tap on the Smart Hub Plus, which will then go to the overview of the hub. It shows the devices on the hub, be they online or offline. Be aware, it does often misreport devices as being online or offline. That's just one of the many gripes I have with this app. Then, there's the connected discs, which I believe are the Wi-Fi extenders. I don't have any, so I'll carry on. Next, I'll tap on the 3 dots menu to see what's in there. It has some basic settings and the ability to share and show the Wi-Fi password. I'll close that and go back to the main screen. Moving on to viewing the home network. At this time, it's showing as 4 devices being connected. Actually, there were 6, as for some reason, my Netgear Switch and my iPhone were both shown as offline or not connected, even though they are connected, and I was using the EE app on the iPhone. Anyways, if you tap on the eye, it will hide or show the box at the top. I'll tap on the Smart Hub Plus to see what's in there, and again, it just goes to the hub overview page. I'll close that. I'll tap on Other first. The device that's there is an Ethernet adapter which I have attached to a Nintendo Switch. The blue icon indicates it's connected via wired Ethernet. I'll tap on that to see what the details are. There's the IP addresses it's using and the connection type, amongst other information. If I tap on the 3 dots at the top, I have the option to rename it. I'll close that and go back to the home network and take a look at the computing devices. Here I have a Mac Studio and a Raspberry Pi connected via wired Ethernet, along with a desktop connected via Wi-Fi. The desktop is actually the same Mac Studio, but I have it set up with both Wi-Fi and wired Ethernet, so I can use AirDrop and other things with my iPhone, such as continuity. Again, the Netgear switch that I have between the Mac Studio and the hub is not shown as online. Later on, you'll see that it's shown as not connected. As you can imagine, at times this app can be very frustrating to work with. You can switch between computing and other, and vice versa. If I tap the Raspberry Pi, you can see a similar set of details as before. For now, I'll close that and then go back to the hub overview screen. I'll just add this, the home network view on the Smart Hub Manager is a lot more comprehensive and a lot more detailed, so that might be a better option for you if you want to use that. And it shows the correct number of devices as being online as well. Look at check service status. I'm not going to go into this too much, but as you can see, it just shows the status of the mobile and broadband networks for EE. Moving on to the Advanced Web Protect, this is a kind of content blocker that will block malicious threats. I believe that this might be off by default. In my case it was off, so I'll turn it on. It'll take some time to enable, so I'll pause the video and come back. Okay, now that it's activated, I'll tap on See Threats. It's pretty simple in what it shows. There are no threats detected, but if there were, they would show up in here. You can view by all devices or by an individual device. I'll close that. If you want more details on what Advanced Web Protect does, I have a link in the description that goes into more detail. Moving briefly onto Safe Search, this doesn't seem to be used on the Smart Hub Plus. It seems to have been moved into the parental controls, so I can only guess that this is an older feature from a previous model. Moving further down, we have the Devices section, which shows you all the devices that are currently or have previously been connected to the hub. Scrolling through, you'll see the online devices first and then the offline or not connected devices. If you want to see all of the devices, tap on See All Devices. View them as a list or in a grid. I'll tap on this Raspberry Pi so we can see what we can see and do. First, there is the option to add it to a group, more on that later. Below that, there is the details about the Pi, such as the name, MAC address and IP addresses. Below that is the option to pause the device from the Wi-Fi. Again, more on that later. Tapping on the three dots at the top will give you the option to rename the device. This doesn't change the host name on the actual device, it's just the name that is used on the hub to identify it. I'll close that down and have a look at one of the offline devices, as there is one important difference here. If we go into the PlayStation 5, I get the same information as before, but if I tap on the three dots at the top, I now have the option to forget the device. Doing so will remove it from any groups and schedules, but you can still connect it to the Wi-Fi or wired Ethernet. The verbiage used here is just Wi-Fi, but it is applicable to wired Ethernet as well. I'll cancel that and then close out of it. Moving on to groups, these are used to group devices up so you can apply parental controls to those devices, which covers blocking access to numerous categories of websites. One thing before I go into it, a device can only belong to one group, so be aware of that when planning your groups. First, I'll tap on Create Group. I'll give it a name and then tap Save Group. It'll then ask what devices to add. These can be online devices or not connected devices. I'll add these two iPad 2s as they're the same so I can get the right one, and then tap Add to Group. I'll tap on that group. You can see there are a few settings available. I'll go over the parental controls first. Each of the options here adds a level of strictness to what categories of sites devices in the group can access. Off basically means anything goes, and strict is the highest with the least amount of access. You can change what is covered on a level by tapping Change Block Sites and adding or removing categories that you wish. You can also manually block or allow a site. For example, I'll add a block rule for Bing.com. Now when I try to access Bing.com on the iPad, it'll just say it cannot be reached. If I try Google.com, it works as normal. This also applies to the Bing app as well. You'll need to be careful as not every app will work the same as Bing in terms of the URLs it uses in the background, so you may need to investigate the apps that you want to limit, but for the most part, they should get blocked. Also, the app may not show a timeout. In the case of Bing, it just showed a blank screen. If I remove Bing.com from being blocked, it then works as normal. Next, you can set a schedule to pause the Wi-Fi. I'll cover what pausing does in the next section, but in short, it blocks access to the internet between the hours that you set and for which days you want. Lastly, you can enable the device usage to see how much time each device in the group has been online for. Now that I've covered devices and groups, I wanted to go over what happens when you pause the Wi-Fi on either of them. The effect on either a device or a group of devices is exactly the same. First, I'm going to go into the iPad 2 device and tap on Pause Wi-Fi. It then pops up a warning that the device is in a group and you should pause it there or remove it from the group. For this example, I'm going to remove it from the group just so you can see the process. Tap on the three dots at the top and then tap on Remove Device from whatever the group name is. Confirm it and then close the message at the bottom. I'll just pop out of it and go back into it. Then I'll try pausing it again and it went through. So what exactly does pausing Wi-Fi actually do? Well, it doesn't exactly do what it says. Here's a simple diagram of some devices that are connected to my hub. In the example I just went through, I paused the Wi-Fi access to the iPad. What this will effectively do is block access to the internet, block access to the Smart Hub Manager, and also block access to the EE app. I'll show some examples of a website being accessed and a mobile app. You'll see neither can be loaded due to a lack of internet access. Now, this doesn't actually disconnect the device or devices from the Wi-Fi. The iPad is still connected to the Wi-Fi network. What this means is that if I was running a server on my home network, say a Plex server or a web server, I can still access those. Also, with the verbiage used being pause Wi-Fi, what happens when I try to pause Wi-Fi for a wired device? Well, if I pause Wi-Fi for the Raspberry Pi, which is connected via wired Ethernet, what happens? Well, exactly the same actually. You pause the device, it blocks the internet access, blocks the Smart Hub Manager access, and blocks the EE app. If I want to access something on the local network, I can. This is very misleading in my opinion and should be renamed to pause or block internet access. A more detail or a question mark should also be shown next to where it says pause Wi-Fi to cover what it does. Also, what the hell does for a bit mean? Is there a predetermined amount of time that the device will be paused for, or is it paused until it is manually unpaused? I think EE needs to clarify what it actually does here so that the consumer can be informed. I'll leave it at that and we'll move on to guest Wi-Fi, which I'll just mention as it's not ideal to show you for security reasons. You can set up a guest Wi-Fi on the hub which has a similar name to the Wi-Fi name you currently use. It's simple to set up if you need it. Before I conclude this video, I thought I would just add a small section covering what improvements I would like to see in this app, as there are a few. First, make the app and the Smart Hub Manager have consistent features and functionality. The Smart Hub Manager has far more functionality than the app, but lacks parental controls and advanced web protect, which can only be done on the app, which I think is a little bit silly. Next, bulk removal of devices. If you want to remove multiple devices, you have to go into each one and remove them. What I'd like to see is an edit button on the devices list screen that then shows a radio button when it's tapped at the side of each offline device or not connected device that you can then select and have a remove button at the bottom to remove all the devices. This applies to both the app and the Smart Hub Manager. Next, a button or a pull down action to manually refresh the page so that the device status can be seen faster. Also, the devices that I know are online don't appear online in the app, but do appear as online in the Smart Hub Manager. Another little inconsistency I found along the way. Lastly, as mentioned in the pausing Wi-Fi section, fix the verbiage and explain what it actually does so that the customer can be informed of what it actually does without having to figure it out. To round this up, I would suggest that you only use the app if you need to manage parental controls and advanced web protect. If you don't need these, then the Smart Hub Manager is a much better option to use for managing your hub. With that said, I'll leave it at that. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. If you want to see a video that covers the Smart Hub Manager, it's here on the left. I also have a playlist on the right that has a collection of videos related to the Smart Hub Plus. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.